Hey guys, this is Kenneth, and I'm going to be having a bit of a story time video. What this video is about is some of my stories from Dungeons and Dragons, and sort of over the years I've been playing the game. Today's a story from 2nd edition Dungeons and Dragons, where I was playing a wizard. I had enough intelligence on this wizard, of course, to avoid specializing in a school. But the main bulk of my spells were abjuration. Back when abjuration had a lot more spells than it does now, but that's a whole other can of worms. What ended up happening in this story is I was playing in this campaign with a group of friends, one of which was Matt, Dylan, and I can't remember the other guy's name. But what ended up happening is my friend Matt was playing a bard. Yes, 2nd edition bard. Go ahead and get your laughs out. But what ended up happening is we ended up finding, basically, this is in the Greyhawk campaign for, Vecna. Vecna gotta die. So one of the items I ended up finding, oddly enough, was the Hand of Vecna. By the time this happened, my wizard was already at 19th level, so I had just earned the Archmage. And I know that sounds like a low amount nowadays, but back then, like a 19th level wizard, I was lucky. I think I ended up with 72 hit points. But what ended up happening is our inevitable confrontation with Vecna went very strangely. And what I mean by that is, Vecna only has one hand. And what I ended up doing on this wizard, since I was in evil alignment, I had cut off my own arm and replaced it with the hand of Vecna, which actually gave me a lot more power as a wizard. But I decided to forgo all of that magic and strangle Vecna to death with his own hand. It was fucking great, like strangling a witch with his own hand. But all that aside, one of the funniest stories I have from 2nd edition Dungeons and Dragons is the first time I ever played D&D, and I was maybe about 6 years old when that happened. Basically, my dad decided to, share the hobby with me by getting me into D&D, so he got me into a Ravenloft campaign with one of his brothers, and of course, his other brother was the dungeon master. Um, Basically, my dad always has a tendency of playing paladins or clerics. He just really likes the class. So I decided, since he was going a paladin, I would go cleric, because my dad plays it, so it had to be good, right? Well, the problem is little Kenny didn't get a healing spell until 3rd level. So I was the healer that couldn't heal until 3rd level. But that's not the funniest part that happened. The funniest part, and I remember this moment very vividly, I remember asking my dad when he made his paladin, "What's a paladin?" He didn't tell me, but the dungeon master said, "Well, I don't know, but Strahd does." I said, "Well, what's a cleric then?" He's like, "Well, again, I don't know, but Strahd does." My dad just said, "You're his worst enemy, King." I was like, "Neat." So we went along Ravenloft. We got to about 5th level, and around that point, there's like there's a beam, and there's a bunch of zombies patrolling the area. So what happens is if you go around that area with a light source, you instantly basically in terms of in World of Warcraft terms, you pull aggro, and you get all of those zombies to converge on you. I didn't know this at the time for being an idiot 6-year-old kid, so I was in there with a torch, and I pulled all of those zombies, nearly killing the entire party, until I remembered that I had channel divinity and I could actually destroy those things. So when I remembered it, everybody was basically dead. And then I realized, oh wait, I can do this. I can do thing. So I did the thing, and I ended up getting we all ended up getting a level out of it, which was really nice. The cleric sadly didn't live much longer because I was one of the first people to be mind controlled by Strahd. So, yay. But yeah, basically, that entire experience was me learning the basic mechanics of Dungeons and Dragons. And I went from an idiot goofball to a somewhat decent player now, like after many years. But that's enough for this video for today. If you have any other stories that you have, please post them in the comments below. I'd love to read them. Anyway, this has been Kenneth, signing off.